All right, we're going to take the zinc yellow Mach 1. We're going to go get the blue Mach 1 with it, and we're going to pick up my brother and go to a car show, and he's going to bring the red Mach 1. So this is just kind of a ride along, hang out with us for the day kind of a thing. So I got a car meet this morning to go pick up my brother. We're going to both go up to the other garage and get both our other Mach 1s out. Right now we're the zinc yellow Mach 1. My azure blue Mach 1 and his torch red Mach 1 that are both up at the other garage. Motivate. Yeah. I got the camera set up. So you want to have a conversation or not? We always have really good conversations when we drive places, and just thought I'd try the camera mount out a little bit more.
Yeah. Is it going down or
Yeah.
turn off? It's on.
But anyway. Roads are still a little wet. They're damp. They're not like puddled or anything, but last night when I was in town, they were dry out that way. It's not supposed to rain anymore. Looks like there's blue skies out that way.
Yeah, my Mach 1's been sitting for like 6 months now or more, so it'll be good. I don't care if we drive it around a little bit with wet roads, because I want to take it and wash it anyway.
Yeah.
And go to Cars and Coffee.
Well, this one's been driven in the rain because I daily drive it. I used to daily drive it, and the blue one I did detail underneath it when I bought it, and it was really clean. So I never wanted to drive in the rain, but there was a few months I daily drove it before I got the other silver 03 GT, and so it went in the rain, and that's all it takes is once. Because I looked underneath and it was dirty.
Yeah.
So I detailed underneath both Cobras really well, and it's super clean, and I wanted to do that to the blue Mach 1 next. I crawled under and looked, I was like, wow, I thought I detailed under this car. But just a couple times when I daily drove it, that it went in the rain, it was enough for it.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot of fog. Yeah, it's gonna roll in. It did this the other day. I looked out the window, let the dog out. By the time I came to put her back in, it was just covered. It was hard to drive to work. Like 20 miles an hour, so.
Oh, wow.
It's gonna come on here real quick.
Yeah, they're there, but yeah. I might have to point them up. Maybe that's the problem I've always had. I've just noticed you can't really see anything in the fog lights. Maybe it's a good time to test it out. I kind of wonder if I freaked the car out in front of us because I turned off my headlights. But yeah, maybe it does help a little bit, but it probably would if it was like a snowstorm.
Yeah, in a snowstorm, I was driving and it was so bad that I was better off with my parking lights on. And I could see the billboard like glow, and that lit it up better than being blinded by the headlights. But
that's hard to think that you could still see with even just that tiny amount.
defrost too.
Yeah, defrost is probably better. Finally, this construction's about done. Right here, they painted the lines. That lane's just not open because they've been doing all the landscape.
Yeah. They've been talking about some other fun projects around here.
Yeah.
There's a really good video that shows everything they're working on. To get the link.
Yeah. I had someone send me a video yesterday. He's installing the return, a full. I think it wasn't a forward ovation. I think it was a Vision X. Full fuel system on his car. His Cobra down in Vegas. Remember this? The dark shadow gray Terminator in Vegas.
Yeah.
Right there in the track. There. Anyway. Send him a video of how mine is, but tried to remember some stuff, but I had taken a video when I first installed the return system on my Terminator. Showed where the vacuum lines were all routed on that regulator and stuff. And it was actually surprising how much I didn't remember. Like when I went out to the garage and looked at it, and I was like, yeah, because you had given me a little T out of your box to try to see if it worked. We had to come up with something. So I told him I probably have to do that, just pull the vacuum lines apart. He said between you and your brother, there's so many videos that have helped me. And he's like, hey, I'm so grateful. They get that every day. There's a lot of people who say thank you. So
It's nice on a platform just to have videos about it. You can watch them and get familiar with things before you even have to open them up.
well, and there have been a couple people who've talked about pulling engines and stuff, and they've asked me stuff, and I showed the video because you made the video when we had the Red Fire Terminator at our house that we pulled the drivetrain out of. And I'm like, tell people, you don't realize how nice it is to have every step covered. You can watch this video and basically had like a cement patch for a bridge. And as soon as he hit that, the car just skidded sideways and right with the nose right into the wall, just totally smashed the whole front of the car, like bent everything. It's surprising it like when you're going and you just slide sideways and still hit something, how much damage it causes. And
Yeah.
total the car. But I'm like, why are you driving? I mean, everybody knows that you should drive on drag radials in the rain, but he was like cruising hauling.
Yeah.
Like why? Like if it rains for me and I see water coming off people's tires, like spitting
Yeah,
water out,
slow
I
down.
slow way down, even just because Mustangs are known for getting a little loose in the rain anyway. But I just like kind of creep down the road and I don't care how slow I go. But it surprises me that people are like, I hydroplane. I've heard so many times where people are like, oh, hit standing water.
Yeah.
And it's total. It's like, just go slow. So I've got 123,000 on this. That's about what yours is
That
at.
one mine's at, yeah.
The blue one's at 91 or 93, somewhere. And it's not like it's going to be a 5,000 mile electric car, but that's like a whole conversation I know we've had before. People, like, you want to keep the miles low because you like having a low mile car, but you can drive it 10,000 miles. It's not going to make a difference. I'm driving 1,000 miles a year, which is what we used to put on our cars. Now, between all the cars I have, I don't do 1,000 miles a year on any of them except for the daily driver.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like if you're not going to sell it, then it doesn't matter what it's really worth.
Yeah.
I was actually watching this video, and this guy had a black GT500 in 2014, and he went down to the Shelby Bash in Vegas, and it was a nice video. He was an older gentleman, and he's talking about his time at the thing, and he was like, yeah, we went out and did this and this, and then we went road racing at Speed Vegas. And when we went road racing, he said they left Speed Vegas and his alternator died. He's like, everything went black, and I'm just kind of like, well, with a supercharged car like that, that's, modified, you should be really keeping an eye on voltage and stuff like that. He's like, I don't know why it would, like, the screen died and this and that happened, so.
Yeah. They just don't know any better.
They don't know any better. They're just kind of consumers. But if you buy a supercharged car and you're going to modify it, you should really look into potential ways, because he could have melted a piston if that alternator was weak and he was beating it on the track like it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, he gets the car towed to his son-in-law's or his son's house or whatever, who lives in Henderson, which was nice. He takes the alternator off, and then he goes into O'Reilly's, and they're like, oh, we don't have one. He's like, nobody in Vegas had the alternator. And so it's like, okay, that's too bad. So he actually just replaced the alternator from an O'Reilly's in Phoenix where he lived. And so he gets the O'Reilly's there will ship another one from Phoenix, so he has to wait a little bit. And he does. He gets the alternator installed. And he goes and drives over to the event, and a girl pulls out in front of him texting, and he smashes into her. Just destroyed the front of this GT500. And he was pretty upset about it. And then he's like, well, get the front fixed, and body shop's gonna have it, and they repaired everything. But I thought, to him, like, to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, there goes your original Carfax history with no accidents, and, the paint's not original now, and all these things. But then I thought, well, at his age, because he was a lot older, it probably doesn't really matter that much, because he's just enjoying the car.
Yeah.
And so I know with our good friend Patrick, he tells me that all the time. He drives his GT350 Terminator like crazy, and he's like, what do you think I care how many miles I put on it? It's like, I'm not gonna be around forever, and then it's not mine anymore, so I might as well enjoy it. So I think that's kind of a good thing to consider with the whole don't drive it, don't put miles on it. But hail that ripped around me and threw rocks all over my GT.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I don't want to be driving my Terminator and have that happen to it.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of pros to that. And I'm starting to look at cars kind of like new pairs of shoes. And if you have a new pair of shoes that you really love, then, you know, you can wear them, but you'll wear them out. And instead, imagine if you had 5 or 6 pairs of the same shoe in your house, you know, or similar shoe that you don't mind. You wear sometimes for certain occasions and this and that. And I think that's kind of the best way to think about it, because I literally had, on the Cobra, I've had to, you know, fix the leaking differential, and that happens. Had to change an alternator that was overspinning it with the GTR. And, you know, so it's like you have a few things that are going to ultimately break or dry out, you know, and that's okay. But you're definitely going to keep it nicer overall. So if it's ever like, oh, you're saving your Cobra for the next guy, it's like, I'm really not, because I'm driving a Mustang every day, whether it's my GT, my Mach 1, you know, or the Cobra on nicer days. But it sure helps, you know, when you're underneath and detailing it and keeping it clean, you know, then that's a lot of work that you don't have to go do again by driving it in the rain because you had to. But, you know, a lot of people don't have a garage or an extra place in the garage for another car.
Yeah,
And
or even another car.
That's understandable. So, you know, you do what you do, and you drive the car that you can. But, you know, even with my new Tundra, you know, it's going to be like my Cobra. Bought it with 19,000 miles. I'm daily driving the GT, and I can drive the Silverado.
You have the best analogies. I like that about the shoes, because it reminds me of, it's kind of like exactly what you're saying. You have a pair of shoes that you can wear in the mud, but you have a pair of, like for me, I buy a new pair of shoes, and then I keep them nice in the closet, and I'll take them out on dates or around town, and slowly wear them in, and then I wear my normal shoes to work every day, and they get trashed. Even at work, they get pretty dirty, or next thing you know, you're rolling around underneath the car, and your shoes are kicking around, and you're beating up your shoes. And so, like, it is good to have different ones. And like you said, I know not everybody can have, like, tons of cars. And, you know, sometimes I'm envious of the people who do put all their money into one car, because they're always in it, they're always driving it, they're always enjoying it. It's going to be their fastest because they've built it up. And, you know, they're always in it, and when the time comes to like race, because I've been like in the GT and something comes up to race, I'm like, man, if I was in the Bullet or the Terminator, I'd really walk this guy. But
Yeah.
you know, but then again, I laugh because driving an automatic stock GT every day keeps me from racing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I know.
Makes you behave.
Makes me behave and stuff.
You know, I was doing a work party for our top performers, and I went to get some Royal Thai cuisine. And, you know, I was thinking about taking my brand new truck because I was going to have a lot of food and everything. And I thought, you know, I'll just make it all fit in the GT. And, you know, some of the curry actually spilled a little bit and went into the trunk. And so I actually kind of lucked out, because the GT, I didn't even have carpet in the trunk.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, if I had brought my brand new truck, this would have been on my brand new carpet, and it's very strong smelling stuff. And I was like, you know, if I was in the Cobra, you know, then
Yeah.
I would have been really upset. And so, you know, it's like, it wasn't as bad. Just, you know, I had to take the spare tire out and really clean up, and, you know, it left a little bit of a yellow stain down in there, you know. But it's just one of those things where I was like, you know, I was even lucky that because I had more food inside on the back seat. And so I'm like, I finally lucked out for once where it was actually in the trunk when it spilled. But, you know, it was one of those things where it's like, you know, and I deep cleaned it because I'm like, oh, I don't want a rodent smelling this and coming and trying to get into the car, and, you know, but
Yeah. go down to Vegas and watch the races. I just don't want to drive the Cobra all the way down there and back just for it. I mean, it's a fun drive.
Just leaving the parking lot.
Leaving the parking lot and all this stuff. So.
Well, you know, on my Yukon, I paid $300 or more to get 3 dings out of the side door when some shopping carts hit it. I have a video of that too. You can link on the description if you want it. And it's just like, you know, just that cost alone of having to pay several $100s to take some dings out just makes it worth it. You know, my white GT, it's not perfect condition. I still care about it. I still park, you know, defensively and out in the middle of nowhere. But you know, if something were to ding it or scratch it, it's not gonna like really ruin my day.
Yeah. Well, there have been times where I've taken the Cobra or the Mach 1s out, and we go out and enjoy the morning, and we go a couple places, and I just don't want to leave it in certain places, and then we'll come home, I'll put it away and get the Bullet or the other GTs, just because, I mean, I still take very good care of them, but, you know, it's less stress to take those and then go to the store, park in the back, and just not worry, because, like, I'll be in the store, and the car will be parked in the back of the parking lot if it's one of the nicer cars, and I'm, like, still worried someone's gonna, like, key it or go bump into it or ding it or something. And so, like, it's funny, because there's actually a little bit of a relief when I trade to the other car, and then I go out driving, and I'm like, okay, you know, if it rains on it, or if this or that happens, so, you know. Yeah. So, this is where I used to drive my red Mach 1 every day. I drive this work back here every single day, and I just love it. I get up here, as soon as I crest this hill, just be cruising, and I just look over like, man, this is nice. It's a nice day, it's a nice car. All these people running.
Yeah, it's
Practice for the marathon. On the road, there's a trail right there.
Yep, it's fun to see them out and doing what they enjoy. And, you know, nice mountains and everything.
I like that they run with a light or something. That helps me a lot to, like, there's times where I probably wouldn't have seen them. Yeah. It's beautiful weather, beautiful day. It's cleared up. But, like, today I'd have been kind of upset if I brought the Cobra.
Yeah.
Because I just detailed underneath it.
Yeah.
Just driving this would have bugged me, but at least there's no salt on these roads.
That's huge. Yeah, that's what I love about living in southern Utah. It is just, if you do have snow, it melts pretty quick, and they don't typically go put salt down unless it's really bad.
Yeah.
But you don't have a lot of salt.
A guy just commented on my channel. Let's see, which video was it? And it was one driving around here recently, and he said something like, this makes me really hate living in Michigan, because his car's locked up in the garage, and there's snow everywhere and stuff. Like, I purposely chose not to leave southern Utah for a better, higher paying job, just so that I could enjoy this, because
Yeah, it's so worth it.
it's worth it.
The older you get, the more you have to work on things, and, you know, I mean, you super bailed me out with the cylinder deactivation delete on the Yukon and the new lifters, and we didn't break one bolt. You know, I was really worried on exhaust manifold bolts and stuff, and we didn't have really any hardware problems. Everything came right off, and a lot of that is because we aren't in a rust belt area.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, you know, I had somebody was talking to me the other day. They said, your brother said the nicest things about you helping work on his car when it had a problem. Like his white one, his SUV. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And that one hit me hard. Just 110 degree weather outside. Being a family vehicle, I had a lot of pressure to get it back on the road. It was so bad I bought the 2021 Tundra just to have something for the family. That's the extent of how hard this was. You know, is that I went out and bought a whole other vehicle, but then it was still, you know, we have a lot of experience more on the Ford side, so it's still a lot to learn on a newer engine with direct injection and a high pressure fuel pump, and, you know, all of the things that thing has, like the
Which I notice Coyotes now, the newer ones, you have to drop the oil pan to get the oil pump off to the oil pump gears.
Oh yeah, it's just.
And I know that because I watched the video, and that's the thing with your Denali. I had watched so many videos of building LSs on Power Nation and stuff just for fun that I already kind of knew the general how-to of how to pull the cam out, and like I had a really good just base of understanding of what we needed to do. And so it's funny that people don't really know that I actually know a lot about LS. I know a lot about Mopars. I know a lot about like a lot of different cars, not just Mustang. I'd watch those shows, and like I'll watch them and they're fun because I have friends, and our other brother loves LS cars. I would send him that video and be like, hey, you should watch this. They take the heads off and they pulled the LS1 out of a red SS Camaro, Power Nation, and they like pulled the engine apart. It's good to know, and I don't think he cared to watch it, but it's like I like watching it because it's just kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I had someone do the same thing. They're like, I don't even own one of these, but I really enjoyed watching this detailed video and how it all went together, and and it's like, well, you never know when you or a friend will have one that you have to do.
Yeah. Well, I just I just did that 3-valve with my friend, and it was very similar to do the timing and everything on the 2-valve. But I just watched a Coyote, and it was a really great video. You should watch it. And it like when you take the timing chains off, you first have to put the crank at like I think it was 12 o'clock, and to take off one chain. And then you have to rotate it with that chain off to 5 o'clock, and then take off the other chain. And then when you put them back on, you do in that order where you leave it at 5 o'clock, put the first chain on, then you rotate the engine 360 degrees back to 12, and then to 5 o'clock again, or something weird.
It was really weird.
It was really weird, and I would never have known that.
What you notice too, though, is like without the valves opening, it's hard to turn that engine over when you have valves that are closed.
And spark plugs too.
Yeah.
Even that 3-valve.
You want to take the plugs out if you're doing that.
Higher compression 3-valve, you go to rotate it because they're flat top pistons too. And I'm like, is this thing locked up? No, it's just really hard to turn, and you feel bad, but like you're like, no, it's doing it. So.
Is
it you?
You haven't seen this one for a while.
You haven't seen me for 6 months.
But that makes it fun, actually.
It's like a barn find.
It is. I come in here sometimes and just quietly look at the cars, and like it's kind of like a barn find. You look at what you see,
Yeah.
And I tell people when they want to sell their car, I'm like, why don't you put it away for 6 months or a couple months, put a cover on it, and then come back and look at it, take the cover off and look at it and see if you still want to sell it. And they're like, yeah, I realize I don't.
Okay, so what did you want to do? Push this one? Just push this one out?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have this wedge in upside down or not.
I just put it in at your house when you have an extension and everything. It was an 8.
It's not very good. It bounces around.
I found this really nice Mach ratchet. I found this in the road
Oh, yeah?
like 10 years ago. I was just walking over by the dance studio where my wife works, and I found it in the road. And I've used it. I like keeping it here. And I have just the right socket on it, so I can always switch batteries out because I do that. Tires look pretty good. The front ones might have a...
Yeah, this is at 19 PSI.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that...
This is nice because you set it to whatever PSI you want.
Uh-huh.
Tells you what's in there.
Oh,
and then
cool.
It'll turn itself off.
See how fast it works? Yeah, those are kind of low.
rafters. These door panels
Uh-huh.
are from the Red Fire Terminator that was found in the storage unit.
Oh, uh-huh.
And your mirrors came off that car.
Yeah, that's where those mirrors came from.
And stuff. So, okay, so you go ahead and I'll guide you out. Basically, just
You got the key?
yeah, it's over here in my box of keys. If you want me to do it, I can, because I've always done it. But
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'm gonna prime it.
okay,
I think the battery's strong enough to do that. So
yeah.
anyway. Okay, gas pedal all the way down.
Sounds good. Well, you can just turn the wheel all the way this way. Okay, now turn it all the way back. All right, come on back. Yeah, that's good. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, there we go. Go ahead. Start pushing. Clear the bullet.
Yeah.
See how clean that battery tray is? Yeah. Proud of that. When I first got this car, I hit a speed bump near my house and the whole car shut off. And what I realized later is that these two were loose.
On the aftermarket.
Yeah. That's something that will drive some people crazy because they'll never figure that out. And then they just think that the car's, you know. On the Bullet, I have the habit of taking the negative off first because the Torque Tech kit has an aluminum power steering bracket and a wrench that hit here. and it arcs because this is still plugged in. So I take the black one off first, and in my mind I just remember get rid of the negative first.
Yeah.
It's like the before we had our Terminators. We were so lucky to have these two Mach 1s, and for a long time this was it, you know. And not that these cars aren't good enough to have and that you have to have a Terminator, but you know, when you get the Terminator, then that's what everybody always wants to talk about. But these Mach 1s are fantastic cars, and you can be happy having one of these and nothing else. You know, I really love this car. When I first got this car, I would always look in the rearview mirror and just hope nobody was going to hit me. You know, like I'd drive this car around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I have. I love this car, and that love for this car has never left. But with all these other Mustangs I own, you know, it gets put on the back burner a little bit. But yeah, we used to go to Cars and Coffee all the time with our friends, and we'd bring these, and our brother-in-law had a white WS6 Trans Am, you know, and a Hemi Charger, and just some cars like that. So it was always fun getting together. You know, our other friends had some GTs, and Mach 1s are fantastic cars. Yeah. Here, I'll hold this.
Okay.
Just get the dust off it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's
spot for you. Do that and get over there. The roads are still wet. But...
yeah. Well, and it's not even going to start for another hour, but everyone gets there early so they get a spot.
Yeah. Start spraying here.
Okay. Just need the back, that's all.
Just the back you need?
Yep, just the back bumper and everything. Now he's working for me.
this though, rather than when people show up and you're,
standing there with your arms crossed, wearing your jacket, your Mustang jacket. Yeah, that's cool. There were over 20 Mach 1s in this town at one point. I counted them all up, how many white ones, blue, red, which for a car that's more rare than a Terminator, it's actually pretty interesting how many there have been and how many you see because people actually drove them, But
that white one I saw at the hospital the other day.
oh yeah?
Yeah.
Did it have the bra on the front or was that a different one?
It's that one, with the extra stripes that says
Oh yeah.
281.
Yeah, that's the other one. That one had the airbags deployed. I actually have a video about that one on my channel. But that was a cool car. That was sitting at the Ford dealer for 18.
Was that one?
Yep.
I remember that one.
It was.
Short car shifter.
Short shifter, extra stripes on the hood, and it was lowered. I remember how low it looked.
It's crazy it's still in town unless it just came back.
Yeah, no, I've seen the lady that drives it. Seriously, I've walked in muddy streets with mud in my shoes in South America, and you get back to America and you really appreciate things like this. But I like walking because it makes you appreciate your car. You see everyone else going by in theirs, and you see how easy of a time it is just to ride in a car. And when you walk a little bit of a distance, you really see how far you have to go. Because we passed all this on the way to the car show, and there was like no gratitude for it because we're just trying to get somewhere. But if you have to get out and walk, next thing you know, you're realizing how far that car just took you. Which is why I really like the GTs I've put back together, because they were like thrown away. But I gave them new life, and now they take me places.
Yeah.
So yeah.
At our breakfast sandwiches, and I saw the sign had blown off, and I thought, well, instead of waiting for somebody to realize it's down, maybe someone who owns it or works there, might as well just help somebody out, put the sign on. So always looking to do something nice for other people, and you'll see later in the video my brother doing something here too.
Horrible infotainment systems. Like you have to use a mouse to actually select everything. It's not touchscreen. Yeah.
Go guide Patrick over. I just put a new wideband in that new sensor.
Yeah, did you get rid of his narrow band that was plugged into the O2?
Everything.
Yeah, my mother had one. Yeah, not this, but the LS. I wanted to get 50. Boy, this is a real race car, isn't it? Is it body big car?
And Gen 3s, I say left side is all you really need on Gen 5s, excuse me. 3 valves. All you need is a left side. Just the left. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny they make it so that you have to start it up normal and then turn it to track mode. And when you do turn it to track mode, a notification comes up and says, "I certify that I'm on a racetrack. Basically, this is for off-road use only." And so I saw a video where a kid got pulled over, and the officer came up and he says, "Hey, this is exactly how it came from the factory." And the officer said, "Well, you're in track mode," and he says, "Yeah." And he fined him and made him go to Ford and pay for a $5,000 tune that would take track mode out of it entirely, because he said you're illegally operating it, and that's why you have to signify when you hit the button. I know that I'm
And
using
they said you could actually sue the dealer if they didn't tell you that, because they're supposed
there's
to
a
tell
paper
you
you're supposed to sign that tells you
that you will not operate in track mode. But actually, this is active exhaust, where like the GT350, it had at least the earlier years that I'm familiar with, it has a toggle so you can open those valves, and then when you shut the car off, it closes them by itself, and you can't start it open. But the GT500, it will stay open if you leave it open.
Okay.
And so what I actually
And now
did,
these ones too, yeah.
There's a solenoid on that inner second one that has the butterfly that opens. And on my friend's GT350, he bought little dummy plugs that you unplug the harness and you plug it in, and it leaves the valves open at all times. And so
There's always a way.
I did that on his for him, and he liked that because he wanted it to start loud.
Right.
But yeah, so.
That's interesting.
This is funny though, it has the retro gauges on it that pop up and they look like they're from the 80s Fox bodies. That's kind of cool that they did some fun things with it, but when it's just a computer screen you can do a lot.
Yeah, like 10 different layouts. So what does this car run? Yeah, I mean,
Quarter mile times?
no, I mean like price.
Oh, price.
Price.
They were 60,000
60,000 or so. Yeah, there were 2 or 3 blue ones just like this, whatever blue that color is, and they were all about that 60,000 range for a standard one. I think the Dark Horse was supposed to be 60, but people are paying markups. I think it's probably
So is the GT350, is that kind of a hard car to find?
Since they stopped in 2020 and they're
Yeah,
limited, people
You
probably
can find a lot of them online. Like I see them all the time. And my friend here has had 2 of them, and we went to California and bought both of them with less than 10,000 miles on them. And the thing is, a lot of people don't drive a lot, so you could possibly find one, but they're still in the $60,000 range. So you could actually get a very low mileage GT350 or that. And for me, I'd probably choose the GT350.
Oh, hands down.
But you really do want that 19 or 20 year, because it's the Gen 2 Voodoo engine. And like we talked about with the head bolts being deeper and all the revisions they made, even the valve train, they actually used the valve train from the GT350R, which you couldn't get unless you bought the R model, which had no rear seat. It was more of a race car. So the 19 and 20's got all of that. So you want a 19 or 20, plus they are less likely to eat oil. the
There
first
have been oil
the
consumption
15
issues.
to the 15 to 18 GT350s are known for eating oil, even up to a quart for every 500 miles. And so if you're not paying real close attention to it, then you could spin a bearing or lock the engine up. And so you
in
really
fact,
need
Ford
to
even
check.
did that thing where they would change your oil, you drive it around, bring it back, and they test the level. And if they could prove that you were losing that much oil, then they would give you a new engine.
Yeah, as
They
long
were-
as the car was still under warranty.
Okay.
And
So-
but Ford came out and said it's totally normal for a high revving, because that thing revs at 8,200 RPM, which you can still spin a Coyote engine up to 7 or 8 if you want to, but they said it's normal for a race engine to lose oil. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but if it's too excessive, then they'll replace the engine at that point. So you do see a lot of those GT350s, and people will be selling them. They'll say this actually has replacement Gen 2 engine in it. So that's what they're talking about. Gen 2 of the Voodoos. Because like we talked about, there's 4 gens of the Coyote engine, but the Voodoo engine has 2 generations.
And they call the GT500 the Predator.
Yes.
5.2.
The Predator 5.2.
And that's not a flat plane.
No, it's a cross plane. And what's funny is if you go to Ford Racing and buy, they have a race car called a 500S, FR 500S, and you could buy that, and you can even buy a crate engine from them. And for road racing, like the GT350 was made with the flat plane crank, and they offer it as a 5.2, but with the cross plane. They don't offer the flat plane on anything. And they said they want to keep that flat plane crank exclusive to the GT350 owners because they really bought something special and they want to keep it that way. So it also proves though that in road racing, the engines that Ford Performance is selling as road race engines are not flat plane crank engines, so they do just fine without it. But anyway, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've heard the engine, and like you said, it revs so high.
Yes.
It just sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
But probably for the average enthusiast, probably can't do the maintenance or doesn't understand how that motor really. Like I'd probably blow it up.
Well,
just
I know
'cause
people
was lucky
who've
on
daily
it.
driven them and put 50,000 miles on driving, and some of them don't consume as much oil. It's a lot of time it's the hard driving, the higher PM is where they're losing the oil. But I've seen people drive them across the country and not really lose much oil out of them. So. But yeah, yeah, he tried to put it on the wipers, but there's no wipers. Oh well.
got 2 good runs in with this Challenger.
Got him.
The second run was even better, and I gapped him really good, but my brother wasn't able to catch the video. So at least he got a little footage of it. That's too bad he couldn't catch all of it, but that's all right. It was a V6 Challenger, and the guy driving it was really nice. We waved at each other and thumbs up and stuff. He was smiling really big and really happy. Just got the car, so that was fun.
Check. Yeah, you'll be good. Keep going. You're good. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Okay, now stop. Now go forward to the right. There you go. Now back the other way. Just a little bit. And a little more. That's good, right there. See, that's what people think zinc yellow looks like. That's what zinc yellow really looks like. Good. Ran down that Challenger. Yeah. It's like a 300 horse. I think it was a 6 cylinder.
Yeah, it sounded like a 6 to me,
But he was long.
I know, and I was kind of like trying not to make too much attention to us, and you know, but if no one else was around, I would have gone right around him.
Yeah, he was. This X pipe hangs really low, the BBK one with cats, and it's just it's always scraped on stuff.
Yeah,
Just
I
hangs
even
lower.
scraped on that going over it, and I'm stock ride height.
Yeah. Well, and all the rain has pushed those rocks over. like riding in the back seat of a Mustang.
Yeah.
Everyone's always like, put on the windows, it's cold. Yeah, 91,000 miles, I guess.
Yeah, I'm right at 120, just over 120.
Yeah, my yellow one's 123. My red one was 165 when I sold it. Red Mach 1.
Yeah, that's good just to run the engine like that around, get some good oil in it. Now I'm not worried about the oil being dried out on
That and the rear, the pinion seal and everything.
Yeah.
Like everything just needs to get lubricated a little bit. Valve seals. Yeah. I heard there's a Terminator that only had like 300 miles on it,
Yeah.
and the cams were all chewed up. And they said it's because it sat its entire life, but then it started, and it basically was dry starting it. 'Cause the
Yeah.
cams, everything had just, leaked down to the bottom of the engine over
There's a GT
years. Is there?
Yeah.
Wasn't there earlier, but
It's really nice.
I have that on the channel.
Yeah.
When we were washing your Yukon, and I jumped over and looked at it. So yeah, it's a 01. I looked at the VIN number. It's an 01. So it's laser red. And I'm like, where are the original bullet wheels that were on it? They were really nice. They're probably in that garage.
Yeah, just old or whatever.
Yeah, I never saw them come up on the marketplace or anything. But anyway, beautiful day though.
Yeah.
People out riding bikes. I'm gonna drive this around a little bit, enjoy it. In the colder months, I don't drive the Bullet as much, which
Without a heater.
being supercharged, it's the better time for it. But fall and spring are good for it. But yeah, it doesn't have a heater core, so it's bypassed. And so this is a perfect car to drive in the nice days in the winter because the heater works nicely. And, it's just nice having a variety. Some people get tired of their car and then they sell it.
Yeah.
Then they're like sad they sold it, and then they want it back. But it's like having a little variety is nice that way because then I can put it away. And I'm the type of person that loves variety, so I'm the type who would probably sell it off and buy a new one if I only had one car.
Yeah.
But once you get that perfect car, like a yellow Terminator, my Terminators, and these cars, I'm at the point where I don't want to sell any of them. I'm happy with them all.
Yeah. I just need a shop or something so I can keep them all closer because they're all out. I don't want to keep them outdoors.
Taxi, you've seen what he has, these tents in his backyard. Something like that, it's weatherproof. I might do that for a little bit or something, but that really is what limits me from buying more cars. It's just nowhere to put them I could put them in the side yard, but I don't want to take a nice car and put it outside. So yeah, might have to do something, build a shop or something. We'll see as time goes. Oh yeah, should the bike trail is a nice trail. Yeah, I've gone outside and stuff. But there's not a lot of deer around here, like there is in other states, but it is something that like I would go kind of slow because it was always dark. I came around this turn in the Kenny Bell supercharged GT. It was going like 120. It was like slow down. He didn't even have the front swipe on it because he was drag racing. We were up that way. There was some people that wanted to race up the highway up there. And I was like, it's like, don't kill us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you have to speak up.
Yeah.
Snow there. Fell off the car. Some people are just kind of afraid and they let people control it, but sometimes you have to hit them in the shoulder and just say, dude, knock it off. Like, slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that coyote was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it still looks pretty good under the hood for accessing the coil packs and everything. It looks pretty simple on a lot of routine maintenance stuff. So, like, that looks pretty good.
It'll probably be a while before you even need to service anything on it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we have 120,000 miles and don't need a water pump yet on the Mach 1.
Yeah.
And the Mach 1 is right there too. It's really easy to get to. But I was just like, wow, they're like missing pulleys and stuff on this. Like, it looks pretty simple.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of podcasts about the coyotes and stuff. I've learned a lot about them. They're neat. It is. I mean, on one hand, you have to give it to Ford. At least they still have the 5.0.
Yeah.
I like the new ones. They're okay.
Like, I'm not like, you haven't ruined it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the more I look into it, the more I think about it, and the more, like, now that cars have been out, if I were to get a Coyote, it would be a 15 to 17 Roush Stage 3, because it comes with the 2.3 liter Roush charger, and a 6R80 would probably be the best instead of the 6-speed manual. Because it would be super quick, and it's just a pulley and tune away from running 9s. I've seen guys run. There was a guy, they had a black Roush, just like the one I test drove with Patrick, and it was a 6R80, and he ran a 9 something. And I'm sure it was at elevation, and good air and all that stuff. And they go up and they interviewed him, and they're like, "Wow, you just clicked off like a 980 or a 990 or something. And what's done to it?" He's like, "It's a stock Roush Stage 3 with a smaller pulley and a tune." And I know YOLO had the 265 blower, like I have on my Cobra. He had that on the 6R80 car, and he ran a 9.1.
Wow.
And it's just like, that's so incredible, especially for a heavy car.
Yeah.
And so that's where I always get into, like, well, if I were to do a Coyote, then I'd probably just do a Coyote swap and a New Edge.
Yeah.
Because you'd be even lighter and all that stuff. And then, this guy wow, okay.
Yeah. Hot wheeling out on backwards in a Jetta.
Got an exhaust, like, he's kicking it down. Anyway, but yeah, to think you could do a Coyote, and like, I would never change the cams. Like, stock cams are just fine, all that stuff. And so you might as well just, a little bit of boost because it's high compression, and live in the 600 to 800 horsepower range really easily. Yeah, you're fine. And so I think it would be hard to not know, like, okay, so a new Mach 1 or a new GT350 would be a really good comparison. Like, those two would be on the list of what you want. The only thing I don't like about the new Mach 1 is it's the Gen 3 Coyote with the direct injection and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, but then the GT probably be the better one to buy. But, I don't know, it's just pretty, but I just love the new edge cars. And so then I ultimately get to the point where I'm like, all right, I would just put a Coyote and a 6R80 in a new edge and go fast. Yeah, get an illuminator. Have you seen how they make those? The Coyote illuminator. Just, American Muscle has a video where they go through the factory and they're showing them, like, it's so cool. They have like a board that has only the sockets they use, and then it lights up green next to each socket they're supposed to use, and it won't light up until they've torqued what they've needed to torque with that socket on that step. And so it's like foolproof. That's cool. Yeah, it's really neat how they build those. And so like you buy, get an illuminator and a Ford control pack or whatever, run it, and then that'd be cool. But it's all like unless you're like really needing to go that fast all the time. Like I think that's more for somebody who they kind of wanted a Terminator, but the prices are up and they're just not wanting to pay that much for one. Yeah, so they might as well just put a Coyote with a. Yeah, it's good you can get that same performance, rather than go buy it. If you can't buy a Terminator and you don't want to drive something around that's 20 years old. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a brand new engine and all that stuff. Popping my ear. Yeah, going up that canyon, I got a little bit of plugged it up on the. I've never found a Mustang that I've seen since these were made that I'm like, oh my gosh, I really, really want that. Yeah, because I've driven the 5.0s and Chris let me drive his at the track up there and go through the quarter mile and everything, and it feels like a Mach 1, I'm just not, I really don't like the dashboard and the styling. Like, I really like this. Yeah, I think this is just a perfect cockpit. Well, and that's, if I were to get a newer one, it would have to be an S550 and newer, because I test drove a Whipple 2011 GT500, those white with red stripes, and you get in it, and it really was like, the dash just seemed really old, like everything just seemed like it didn't age very well, and I know it's newer than this, but this is just clean, and for everyone who dogs on the interiors on these cars and over plastic, it's like, yeah, well, what do you want? Like, you want this to be leather wrapped and stitching and like wood trim or something? No, that's gonna sag and come apart anyway. Yeah, I don't care. I'm missing this car. No one rattles. It's a bumpy road. Yeah, I don't know. There's always that debate, but it's like this interior is 100% perfect for what this car is. This isn't like a brand new car that has to like compete with anything, It's like this was a 90s to 2000s, sports muscle car. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Leather wrap on the steering wheel. My V6 didn't even have a leather wrap on the wheel. That's nice. Nobody ever talks about all the buttons the Terminator has down here that adjusts all the different bolstering and stuff. They say, like, we see a Terminator review video and they're like, it's the same interior as any Mustang of this year. Yeah, you're like, no, it's not. It has a double leather wrapped wheel, the parking brake and shifter boot leather's different, the knob's different with a different leather. I'm surprised they never offered the IUP trim on those. Right. It's kind of weird. But it's like, the Mach audio system, I love this. These speakers look really good with a little metal badge. Like, the new ones have like a little circle here. Yeah, it looks really terrible. Yeah. Like, this looks good. Like, I don't know. But I'm not like a consumer where I'm like, what has the best interior? I need something very luxurious. Like, I want a freaking bad muscle car. Something that's loud and makes me smile when I get on it. Yeah. I'd have to say too, this 5-speed trimming, the 3650, I like it better than the 6-speed. But your 6-speed in your Cobra shifts pretty smooth. both of my Cobras, they're notchy like everyone says, you know. But this one, I've been able to grab gears with this 5-speed so well over the years. I just love it. I think it's like the best transmission. Now he's coming behind us. Well, he's next thing. Some people sit at stoplights with the clutch all the way in, and they just sit there like that. I'm like, that's pushing the bearing.
Yeah,
into
that's
the-
putting pressure on the bearing where
like,
it's designed to live for short bursts. It's supposed to constantly spin. That's okay, but not with a lot of pressure on it.
yeah.
Not a lot of preload. And so when they do that, then it's
And I'm just like, don't do that to it while you're sitting at a light. You know? Or I know people drive and they rest their foot on the clutch. And
Yeah,
it does
same
the same thing, basically. It's funny, this got a new clutch in it right before I bought it. And it's the only like stick shift Mustang I've owned that I've never done a clutch on. Like, and it's probably because it was done like as a kid.
just let them go.
Yeah, I'll let him go.
He's gonna I'm from a cop.
Yeah.
Be worth it with a dumb Volkswagen.
There's a code right there. It's 2 up in Tahoe. So,
Get him to go now. Speeds past.
walk around, and it had like one of the headlights was out, and it had a new like projector headlight, or like a, what is it, the halos, you know. And then it had, I looked underneath it. I have a video, walk around video, and it's still in okay shape, but I think they may have been up with like cedar or something with it, with the snow, because it looked like it had some rust under it and stuff. But that car turned out not to be as nice, you know. So. Maybe they're a little more similar than I thought. I think this voodoo blue on the Tundra is more like a grabber blue on a Coyote.
Yeah, it's a little lighter. If you look at it from here.
But if you were to have these two in the garage, people would be like, "Oh, you have the same color,
Yeah.
matching car."
But that one doesn't have it. Is that thing you just push on the arm of it? But let me see real quick. Just if you on them.
Right when we got home, my brother got a text from someone, said they needed some help getting the alternator off of their diesel truck, F250, I believe. And my brother was right down there doing it, and we both helped him out a little bit and got that off. And so, always nice to help people when they need help. And so, anyway, just kind of a fun video. Hope you enjoyed it. Just cruising around, having a day with the Mach 1s at the car show. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.